are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the DAP, the Dumbass Podcast. The Demon Appreciation Podcast, episode number 26. Now, I bet you didn't expect to hear me first, your co-host for the night, King Narukami 45. You can follow me on Twitter, subscribe to me on YouTube and everything. But I just wanted to say that I think David's butt is very cute. It's huge, and I want to eat that shit all day long. So I will present to you our host for the night, David Cast JRPGs.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Demon Appreciation Podcast, episode 26. Thank you for the great introduction, my friend. Much apprecited.
How did I do? Rate it on a scale of 1 to 10.
You mentioned huge. You mentioned ass. I'll give it a 10.
Hey, let's go.
All right, so we're gonna start this thing. Thank you all so much for tuning in Monday nights. Monday night, actually, we don't do that too often. Should be fun. As always, if you guys could let me know how the audio sounds, that would be great, because it's always ghetto. Nothing's ready. Nothing. So you just let me know if I should tweak anything. That would be great. Peep that new logo as well. From Adam. Adam's in the chat. Shout out to Adam. Thank you for the logo. I really do like it.
Oh, it's all of her fucking art.
Everything. Everything. In my YouTube description, it's like, hey, logo, emotes, some of my thumbnails, banner, logo, everything's Adam. So shout out to Adam. Kamurocho Bros. Yes, your stuff as well. Shout out to Adam. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of you tuning in today. I really appreciate every single one of you. As always, it's a big help. As King mentioned, you can find his stuff linked down in the description below. He's a co-host. He's not getting shit for always tuning in on my podcast. Just saying. So show him some love. That'd be great, because
I get to talk to your beautiful face.
I mean, yeah, you do.
That's priceless.
Don't forget, you guys, to show him some love afterwards. Links to his stuff down in the description below. Tonight is going to be all about the Atlus 2022 North American Survey. I think your introduction was good. Demon, how did you say? Dumbass Podcast?
The Dumbass Podcast.
It should be Dumbass with Actual Expectations cast for today, because it's going to be, we're going to talk Wishlist. So we're going to talk stuff that could happen at some point, but we're also going to talk crazy stuff. So it's going to be really, really insane. Should be really fun. We'll definitely have a Q&A section for you guys. I did note some of y'all's questions from Twitter and Discord before the show, so we'll try to answer as many of them as possible. And yeah, let's just jump right into it. If you guys enjoyed the show, make sure to give a quick thumbs up. It really helps people find the show. Even if we're not live anymore and you're watching the playback, it is a big help. Shout out to the person who also disliked. That's a big help as well. So if you want to dislike because you hate our faces, it's cool. It helps people find the show as well. Thank you all. Whew, cool. We're starting this thing. There's a lot to get into. You guys are on fire with super chats already. Plus, everyone has been asking. Demicro asked with a super chat, King, where's your Steam Deck? What's going on?
I don't think I've had enough to drink to explain what's going on. Maybe we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about that later.
Q&A section. But I have a lot to say about FedEx. If any FedEx employees are here right now, you could do a lot better. Just saying.
I wasn't expecting so polite, but
cool. We're gonna get into it. I haven't finished my first drink.
Cool.
I've got like 3 drinks here right now. Like a huge thing of liquor and Cherry Coke Zero, and a pretty big glass of wine over here. So yeah, so we're gonna get into it later. Don't worry.
Always a good shout out to Demicro. Thank you for the support. We have another super chat from Basta Jogs saying Atlas or Altus. Oh shit, is that in my title?
No, Altus.
Okay. You made me doubt for a second. Okay, cool. We're good.
I think he's talking about that parody account on Twitter, the Altus.
Yeah, they're great.
I know the owner. Shout out to him.
Yes, sir. Shout out to Master Jugs. Much appreciated for the support. We have H2DK once again coming in with the support. Thank you so much, H2DK. It's 101 degrees Fahrenheit where I live. So cheers.
David, what's the temperature right now in Canada?
We're Celsius, guys. So in Fahrenheit, I have no idea. It's 20 Celsius right now. It's pretty hot.
That's not too hot.
That's
not too hot.
For where I am, it is. So just saying. So I hope you get through it, H2DK. But thank you for the support. Much appreciated. Peter Parker as well, coming in with the super chat. I get to talk to your beautiful face, King Narukami 45.
Quote it. Love it. Love it. Quote of the night right there.
Shout outs, Peter Parker. Let's get into it. Let me give a little bit of context for those of you who didn't watch my previous Atlus news update. Atlus, they did something that they don't do generally. They published a survey for North American fans, and they tweeted about it on the Atlus Japan Twitter page before Atlus West too. So that was
West always following behind as always.
Yeah, I know, but it was like a North American survey, so I figured Atlus West would tweet it out first, but no. Even for English surveys for NA, it's and just we're saying North America, but US, right? USA.
Right.
Just like Atlus West, it's they only do stuff for USA. It's the same
thing. The first
thing,
question that they ask is, "Are you a resident of the United States of America?" And you answer that shout on your last video, lying and say yes.
Yeah, I certainly did. I did because I know that they would just kick me off the page immediately if I said elsewhere. So apparently Canada isn't North America, but hey, it's Atlus redefining the world, I guess. But the survey was about 40 minutes long. Took me like 35 minutes or something. Mostly about gauging fans' interest for old IPs, for platforms. For example, they were asking past titles, on which platform would you like to play this past title in our catalog of games? On which modern platform would you like to play it? Switch, PC, Xbox, PlayStation, etc. Everything was on there. They did the same thing for modern games, so Persona 5, things of that nature. Those games were in the survey as well, asking on which platform you would like to play it. So basically, gauging interest for multi-platform. And then there was other questions about which games we played, etc. All the games that we always same questions that we get from other surveys as well. I do a lot of the surveys that Atlus publish, especially when they are worldwide surveys. And basically, we got a lot of speculations going around on Twitter after that survey was published. People thinking that it means they're gonna port stuff and things of that nature. I just want to ask you straight away, should we look into it? Should we think that something is gonna happen because of the questions that they ask?
Absolutely not. I mean, you could say that Soul Hackers was on one of their surveys about a year ago. Am I right? That was like, I think it was a question of which franchise would you like to see brought back or something. But at the same time, I don't think this is like, I think we can almost expect ports at some. I don't think it's too eye-opening. I know we're going to get into it later, but with remakes and everything, I'm still skeptical. I think you can read a little bit into it with, what they're thinking. Personally, I just think that this survey was done to appease the Western audience because this is the first time they've ever posted a survey for, the Western audience specifically, I believe. So, I want to get your opinion, though. I mean, I don't say look into it too much. I think there's some, obviously, P4G console port, that makes sense. A P3 port, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. But other than that, I don't think you should really look much into it. What about you?
Well, I think you summarized my thoughts. I do think there's the surveys are important. I mentioned it in my video. It was a meme on the channel. I was always saying stupid surveys because since 2016, since P5 dropped, they kept sending those surveys, and they were always asking about multi-platform. Same thing, similar questions on which platform do you want to play the games. And at first, when they first did those surveys, news outlets were going insane, saying Atlus is asking their fans if they want Persona 5 on Switch. That was their headline. So at first, so much weight was put behind those surveys, and it wasn't really clear what Atlus was doing with those surveys. We didn't see the results of those surveys. Now, clearly, they started to push multi-platform and worldwide releases way more in 2020. That's when it started. And it's getting better and better and better with Soul Hackers 2 releasing on pretty much everything but Nintendo. So they're really making a lot of progress. Not the best yet, but they're still making a lot of progress in terms of management and business decisions. Now, the reason why I'm saying we should still be interested in the surveys is because they said in the past that some of their releases, some of their decisions were based on the reception from the surveys, because they were surprised at what the results of these surveys were like. Like, for example, Nocturne comes to mind. Nocturne is a game that they explicitly said they were surprised there was so much interest. Now, I'm not quoting anyone because that's not exactly how they said it, and I should look for what I'm looking for right now, because I mentioned it in my video as well. I don't remember in which interview or when I read about that, but I do remember Atlus saying at one point that Nocturne HD happened because they were surprised that fans actually wanted Nocturne back. And I believe it. I really do, because once again, it's P4G and how it's sold on Steam, same thing. They were surprised at the reception for that. So I feel like they're really mismanaged at the heart of the company, and they don't really know what fans want. So it may be like clear for us, always thinking and talking about Atlus, that yes, people want Persona 5 on PC and Switch, but maybe it's not for them, right? So I do think it's worth talking about now, but that's the little serious part that I wanted us to have for this show. A little bit of talk about the meaning behind things. But today I want to go like kind of crazy. I want to talk about regular expectations, crazy stuff, wishes, insane wishes, both for remakes and ports, because they did ask about remakes in the survey as well. Things of that nature. So it should be really fun. I have zero preparation for this thing. Where do you want to start? You want to talk about something? Do you have anything specific in mind?
Well, I just want to point out something on the chat that I thought was funny. Canada is bootleg USA. I love that so much.
Pretty much for Atlus, it certainly is.
I love it. But I think we should just start off. There was a lot of old franchises too, and I'm not talking about like they asked about like the Raito games and everything too. If you want to see these come back in the future, what platform do you want to play them on and everything? I expected more of like Persona questions. I'm just surprised that they mix everything up for us. Were you surprised at all? Do you think that like the Raito Kuzunoha games might come back in the future? Do you think we'll get ports? I want to know.
It's a really interesting point that you're bringing up right now, because yes, I was certainly surprised at first, because as you mentioned, we're used to seeing, hey, Persona, where do you want to play Persona 4 Golden? We're used to that, but seeing, I'm glad you brought up the Raito games, because the Raito games, Devil Survivor, there's some of the IPs that they just...
You're right.
They never talk about them anymore. So it's really crazy. Soul Hackers was insane when I saw that in a survey. It wasn't in a survey too. It was in when was it? 2021, early 2021. There was a financial report, and on the financial report there was a slide for Sega saying their pillar IPs or something.
Right.
And there was like Persona SMT, and it wasn't Devil Summoner, it was Soul Hackers. So I was like,
right.
What? Pillar title, Soul Hackers?
And people were like, what the fuck?
I remember.
Hackers?
Yes, and now we know. Now we know what they meant. That's because now they want to make Soul Hackers its own thing. It's the third IP for Atlus, right? With Persona SMT, Soul Hackers, different IP now. So it's really, really crazy. There's a lot of speculation that we can do. You mentioned Raito. No, I don't think Raito is gonna come back anytime soon. There's three things. Those are the three IPs that I always mention in terms of old games being brought back. Raito games, I feel for a lot of reasons, they're probably like the least likely. Unfortunately, I just, it's a feeling though. I don't have many reasons for that. It's a feeling. I don't think Raito's coming back. Digital Devil Saga, I think, is next for sure. They chose Nocturne, and I feel like the next natural step is Digital Devil Saga 1 and 2 HD remaster. You could keep the same line for marketing and stuff, so it would be really cool. $60 both games, the DDS 1 and 2, Switch, PC, PS4, maybe even Xbox. That would be really, really cool. Same type of quality as Nocturne. I'm keeping my expectations in check. That's kind of what I'm expecting, and I would be here for it, to be honest. That's my second thing that I wanted to mention. And third is Devil Survivor, because I feel like Devil Survivor isn't likely, like, at all, because it would require a lot of work, but they could make it work. I just feel like Devil Survivor 1 and 2 is where the potential is at. Personally, I feel like those games would do well in modern day because those games, they aged, I don't want to say perfectly, but honestly, they wouldn't have to touch the gameplay, just a little touch up for the visuals and audio, and that'd be it.
So, what if this is a whole ploy to put, like, you know, we had the Raito games on PS3 as a PS2 classic. We had Nocturne as a PS2 classic. P4 vanilla, P3F. What if PlayStation put it on their PlayStation Plus service that they just announced games for today?
Honestly,
how would you feel about that?
I'm glad you brought this up as well because I definitely wouldn't have because I just don't think about that. Honestly, I just don't think about that subscription service. I've never been subscribed to PlayStation Plus, and I don't plan on subscribing to PlayStation Plus either. I just feel like, I don't know. I have a feeling that Atlus games, yeah, they could make it there. It depends on if Sony wants to pay Atlus for their games. At the same time, would Atlus want to put their games on there if right now in 2022 they're apparently considering other things, selling the games on their own, right? I feel like this subscription service is good for games that you won't touch. You're like, oh, we don't care about, let's say P1. We don't care about Persona 1. We're not going to do anything with that. Let's just drop Persona 1 on Sony's subscription service.
I will say this. They did announce that, like, certain, like, PS1 and PSP games, if you have already bought them before, you can just automatically download them and not have to use the subscription service. So that would be a great way, if you ask me, if they would, you know, port FES to bring P3P as well to modern consoles as well, because P3P was a PSP digital title as well. You can play that on the Vita. I mean, I think it would work for a lot of things. And they also reiterated the fact that these titles also would be, some of them would be available for sale as well. So whether or not, you know, these ports come and, you know, Atlus takes some money, puts them on the service, and people like, and they put them on Switch and stuff as well, that's one thing. Do you think they would do something like that? Or do you think that, do you get what I'm saying here? Do you think that they would put this on the PS Plus service and then sell them separately? Or do you think Atlus would kind of do their own thing and not even put it on subscription service?
I think they would do their own thing. And if they, well, first of all, they don't put their stuff on the subscription service. It's Sony going after them for them to put the games on their service.
I'm sorry.
No. I just wanted to clarify for the viewers. I know we're saying the same thing. I just want to clarify. But, what they're going to do, in my opinion, is the games they want to touch themselves. Let's say they are planning on bringing back P3 in some capacity. I just feel like they're going to do that, and P3 is not going to touch the subscription service. But let's say they don't want to do anything with P2 duology. Well, then they could, hey, Sony, you want those games? And put it on your service. That's kind of how I'm seeing it. I feel like they want to prioritize the games that they want to touch and re-release again. And apparently they want to do that.
I saw a tweet from Faz earlier today, and he said something along the lines of, watch Atlus Japan, watch these games, watch all these Persona games be available only in Japan, like on the Nintendo Switch Online service. SMT 1, if, and I'm not sure if 2's on there as well, but those are available only in Japan. And he's like, watch these be available in Japan only. Do you think that might be a possibility? How would you feel about that?
It could be, and honestly, I want to say I wouldn't care because, again, even if Atlus dropped like P3 and 4 on the PlayStation subscription service, I wouldn't even subscribe to it. I really don't care for it, so I wouldn't care. But at the same time, if they do put the games on the system, on the service, in my opinion, it means we're less likely to get real native ports to modern platforms with adjustments, gameplay tweaks, better visuals. In my opinion, they're less likely if they make it on the service. Do I make sense?
Actually announced for the service, some games will, you know, run with higher FPS. It'll be better graphics and everything, but at the same time, we don't know what that means.
We don't know what that means, and those old games, they need the gameplay adjustments more than the graphics and visuals and frames per second, in my opinion. Like, I don't need to play Digital Devil Saga in 4K Ultra HD 120 frames per second.
I do. Yeah. I need that shit.
I really don't. I just want to be able to play it stable and give me the little the better features for gameplay, like Nocturne gave you the ability to choose your skills for your demons during fusion, things of that nature, skill inheritance. Those were great modifications to the original game that they needed to do, more than making it 60 frames, in my opinion. I know that's controversial, but I don't care for 60 frames in my turn-based RPG. I really don't.
And that's something. I mean, lately I've been going back to playing Persona 5 Royal. I'm about 40 hours into my playthrough right now. And it's 30 FPS. That hasn't hindered my experience at all. Now, it could easily be done at 60.
Of course.
But it's not a fighting game. It's not a rhythm game.
It's not an action
It's not a sports action game.
Right.
I mean,
if I'm playing like a Bayonetta or something, I was playing Bayonetta, I was like, hey, I'm glad it's 60. That's cool. It's a stable 60. It looks good. It plays good. It feels good. But when I'm playing a slow turn-based RPG like SMT5, I'm like, whenever it's stable 30, I'm like, hey, it's perfect. That's what I want. That's good enough for me. I really don't need it. But I want to start a debate, because P5 is a great example that you brought up, because I hear this all the time. Oh, I hope they bring it back to PS5 in 60 frames. I get why some of y'all want that. It's cool. I don't give a single fuck about this, honestly. I don't. But I get why you guys want that, and I probably want some other things that you guys don't care for. Like, some people don't care about portable play. I like portable play. It's fine. We all have our little things here and there.
yeah. They did do like a director's cut or whatever of P5R and bring it to PS5. If I would want it at a native 4K resolution. I don't want checkerboarding. I don't want 1440p like it is on the PlayStation 4 Pro. I want a 4K. If we have to sacrifice 60 FPS, that's fine, but you could also make a mode for 1080p 60 FPS, but I'm sure the PS5 can handle P5R at 4K 60 FPS. But is that required? No. I mean, I'm sure, well, Soul Hackers is going to be running at 60 FPS, Soul Hackers 2. That's been confirmed. So, I mean, you don't necessarily have to have 6. Now, I'm sure when SMT5 comes to like PS4 and everything, there'll be a 60 FPS option for the new systems and everything, and on PC as well. But it doesn't necessarily need. It's pleasing to the eye. I like 60 FPS. If you offer me 4K 30 FPS or 1080p 60 FPS, I'm choosing the 1080p 60 FPS every time. It's just pleasing to my eye, but it absolutely doesn't. Games don't need that for me to enjoy them. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, and I fully agree with you. I'm going to just start immediately, if you're fine with it, with the questions that I took from Twitter and Discord, because I feel like all the questions are like topics that I want us to talk about, or most of them. So I'll just jump right in. There's a first question from Spaceboy. They're asking, do you think the questions on game ports from the survey will matter in the remaining anniversary announcements for this year? They're talking about P25th, if you guys forgot. Cannot blame you. And then they say, if they asked about game ports, could that mean there are no more ports coming this year? What do you think?
The ports have already been decided for Persona 25th anniversary.
Yep.
Nothing's going to change that.
That's what I wanted
it's been decided for a while.
That's what I wanted to say as well. 100%. I agree with that. I feel like we're too tight on time. Like next month, something's potentially going to happen. Maybe we'll get a port or something. And it's already decided. They're gauging interest right now for the future, in my opinion. So no, I don't think P25 has anything to do with the survey. Or contrary, the survey doesn't have anything to do with P25.
Now, if they're saying maybe the SMT 30th anniversary,
that's different.
They haven't said anything about that.
And is that the reason why there's a survey? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe they want to see. Maybe they're thinking like me, hey, DDS is next in line. But what if people in the survey are all saying, hey, we want Raido? Maybe they changed the plan. We don't know. So that's a good point. I'm glad you brought this up.
Here's a great idea. Do both.
I mean, I wouldn't complain. I'm here for both. I played a little bit of Raido, not a lot. And I feel like DDS is probably the superior game, or at least the game that I would prefer myself.
Now, let me ask you, if we were to get the DDS and Raido games on, modern consoles, as this survey suggests, would you want them as a straight up port, a remaster like Nocturne, or a complete remake?
I can't speak for Raido because again, I just played a little bit of the games. I didn't complete them. DDS, you don't touch the DDS. You don't remake DDS. They're the games. We're talking over Muladhara right now too. That's the beat playing, so it's good.
Hey,
but,
Argilla's ass is to die for.
Let's keep going. I do not comprehend.
I think a remaster would be great. You know, a port, that's great if they just want to do it. That would be the easiest
Give me the
way.
same
but
thing as the HD remastered for Nocturne. Just make it stable, if possible. Make sure it's stable now, and give me DDS 1 and 2. That's good. That's what I want. Don't remake them. And that's... Let me just jump into another question because someone else asked us about that, if I recall correctly.
I will say DDS's engine is hanging on by a fucking thread. It's just so unstable at times.
It is.
It might be hard, but I don't know.
I don't know what they're going to do, but hey, we'll see. I do want to ask, though, since you mentioned remakes. They're asking us about remakes through this whole survey, or they asked us. And... honestly, I know what I want in terms of ports, in terms of little changes for games, but whenever someone asks me, what is the game that you want it remade? I'm always confused. I'm always like, what do I want remade? I don't know. What do you want remade? Do you have anything in mind for Atlus? Honestly, I have no freaking idea. 2 things? Good. Let's hear it.
Two things. If they were to remake anything, not Persona 3, it's not going to be Persona 3. I want Persona 1. That would be great if they remade that completely. I know Persona 3 would probably get more sales or
definitely
whatever.
Depends on what they do. Hey, it's a remake. I'm cutting you off for a second. It's a remake. So what if they put a calendar system and social links in Persona 1? I know some of y'all won't like what I'm saying, but we never know.
Right.
We never know.
I think that's too risky.
Is
it? I don't think they're going to do it. I think they.
It's what made Persona popular.
I know, but I think they would. Well, who cares? Who gives a fuck what people say about Twitter? Fuck that. You know, it'd be fine. Fuck that. I was about to take Twitter in consideration, but fuck everyone on Twitter. Fuck them, because they don't fucking matter to an extent. They are the vocal minority. I think most people would enjoy that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people. Now, I can see some people being thrown off by that.
Me too, and I get it because I fully understand, and I would still give them a chance. But first thing, they show me a trailer, I see social links, I see a calendar system for P1 or 2. If you see, 2 is a good point, because if you show me that for P2, I don't think it would work. But anyways, if they show me that for P2, I would be like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
what are you doing? So I get it for P1 fans.
Right.
So okay, Persona 1. What was your other pick?
So it's not really a remake. You'd be remaking some, but I'd like to see SMT4 on modern platforms. I don't know how they would remake that to make it work on modern platforms on one screen.
I mean,
I don't know if you can even classify it as a remake.
It would have to be some major thing to build it. If they want to do something insane, here's what I would like. Unreal Engine 4, same visuals as SMT5, same like the demon designs, all in 3D. You see them roaming around, but they would have to build all the environments up from the ground up again. That's what I would do. Make it exactly the same game, because it's crazy good. Don't FF7 remake it. Don't add parts to the game. Don't touch the story. Don't do anything of that nature. Just give me the same game, but start it all over again. And obviously, I don't think they would do that. But if they do, that would be best game of all time candidate for me, potentially.
Right. You would have to remake some of the stuff. I think you could. The battle screen, definitely, where it shows your HP and MP and everything, and your teammates. They would have to implement that somehow into a UI on one screen.
On screen. That would be feasible. Yeah. That would be completely feasible. It's just, like Mac is saying in the chat, it's feasible. Same thing for Etrian Odyssey. Sometimes people are saying, oh, Etrian Odyssey, there's the map systems and stuff, so it's a little bit more, it would be a little harder, but for SMT4 and for Apocalypse, Devil Survivor...
What if they did the maps like SMT5? like have the map menu like SMT5 and everything. Import like because it's very similar to how you walk around the overworld and everything to SMT5 and SMT3 and everything. Well, if they just imported that, I mean, they could definitely make this work and make the models 3D and everything. Use those models from SMT5. You got to win right there. Mm-hmm. I mean, but that would require energy, resources, and trying by Atlus.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't think that's going to happen, but that's what I would like to see.
It's interesting. There's definitely room for discussion, and we could make a whole episode just about that. Well, see, this next question is a great transition. Question from Nathan Drake 123 asking, do you think any Persona remakes are in development? And if so, which ones do you think it is? I personally think it's Persona 1 because that would make the most sense. I don't think any of them are in development.
No. First off, I like the name Nathan Drake. Big Uncharted fan. I see you on Twitter too. So shout out to you. No Persona remakes. They're working on Persona 6. They're already stretched thin. Atlus is stretched thin right now with Persona 6, Project Refantasy, whatever the fuck that's.
Oh my god.
Soul Hackers 2. And I'm sure whatever's coming after SMT5.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Refantasy.
What's that?
It's insane, y'all. I don't even talk about Refantasy anymore because, and if just for context, because if some of y'all don't know what Refantasy is, I wouldn't blame you. Project Refantasy is a game in development by the new studio at Atlus, Studio Zero, mostly composed of the guys that worked on Catherine before. Ashino is working at Studio Zero now that he isn't on Persona anymore. I have a feeling Meguro is going to be a contractor for Refantasy as well.
Oh yeah,
lots of possibilities for that game. So just it's a new game. It's a new IP. It's gonna be a medieval style RPG inspired by tabletop RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons. So it's really, really exciting to me. And whenever I hear Refantasy, I get excited. You saw me in the video. There was 1 or 2 questions where they asked if we heard of Refantasy before, and I was like, hey, let's go. They mentioned Refantasy. Like Coogan is saying, is it a real game? Yeah. You're dotting it, and I can't blame you. So they've been silent for so long about that freaking game. It's
Didn't
insane.
they put Project Refantasy on the survey?
Sorry?
I could have sworn that they put Project Refantasy on the survey.
Yeah, exactly. There was one question. They said, have you ever heard of the following games? And there was a list of games. There was games that weren't Sega, and there was Refantasy on the list. There was Project Refantasy on the list. So it's really, really interesting.
We were supposed to get information in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I think COVID kind of put a damper on things. That's just my opinion.
Yeah,
we
but
were supposed to get information in 2021.
Yeah. Notice how they were silent for 2022? They never promised Refantasy news for 2022, so it's insane. The game's been... Oh, let me check one thing really quickly.
Sworn that they said that we were going to get news this year.
The game was revealed in December of 2017. And
we even got a
Refantasy
character in an SMT game. Didn't we?
A Strange Journey Redux?
I believe so.
Don't quote me on that.
I've been drinking. I bet I could be 100% wrong.
See, I typed Refantasy in Google. The reveal trailer is December 2017. And I do have the news episode here when they promised Refantasy news for 2021. It's right there on Google. My news episode that I did on December 29th, 2020. And in that video, I mentioned Refantasy and how we're going to get news in 2021. And it just never happened. It's crazy. It's crazy. Oh, well.
I think you have a little super chat that just happened.
Do
David?
I? Yes, we do. We have a super chat from Peter Parker. Forget SMT4. Give me SMT2 with Aleph and his god-punching glory. SMT2 is a game that is like crazy beloved by the fans. So I never played SMT2. It's like...
Shout out SMT Drifter on Twitter. He loves SMT2.
He does. He does. I feel like they... it would be risky to touch SMT2, I feel. Maybe I'm
It's
wrong.
still on the Nintendo Online service
It is.
in Japan.
1, 2,
Okay.
if. It is.
Okay. I don't think they'll touch it ever.
Maybe port 1 and 2, but they would have to translate it if they bring it back because 2
And
was
they would
never,
have to bring it as a combo deal.
probably because 2 was never officially translated, if either. 1 was though, so, and they're not touching it. So apparently, if they're not even bringing back the game that is already officially translated, will they really put work and money into the translation of similar titles? Definitely not, in my opinion.
That still blows my mind that SMT1 was translated as a mobile phone release. That's just fucking
Not
crazy.
even mobile, just iOS.
That's
Not
fucking
even
crazy to me.
Android.
Why?
I mean, it's a good
Why?
question, and I'm sure Atlus themselves are asking themselves the same thing because it sold like 3 copies.
I know Gnarly bought one and made a video off of it, but that's about it.
It's insane.
Would you buy it? If they re-release that today, would you buy it?
On mobile?
Yeah.
I probably
What about Steam
would.
Deck?
I probably would because I want to support these older games being brought back, but at the same time, I don't want to support Atlus and mobile games. It's selfish, but I really don't care about mobile stuff. So
You're telling me you're not going to support Codename X when it drops in 2025?
I won't. That sounds like a minor inconvenience to me.
Alley Cat starts playing.
Yes, Alley Cat starts playing.
Put on Alley Cat right quick.
Oh, bruh. Hey, shout out to H2DK. That's a huge super chat, dude. You're very generous. Thank you so much. It's really a big help. Thank you for the support, H2DK. Hi, Peter. Nexo told me to do this. H2DK. I missed what Nexo said, but
It was in my Discord server.
oh, okay. I see. Well, shout out to H2DK. Thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot, man. Peter,
For real,
once
bro.
again, as well. Yeah, for real. Peter is one as well. Shout outs for the support, Peter. Much appreciated. Asking why the YTF was the survey asking about us wanting Refantasy when we don't even know what kind of game it's going to be, let alone what platform it'll be on. That's an interesting question, Peter, and you asked that in my comment section. I don't know if you saw my reply. My thing is, I know who's working on it, and that enough is exciting to me. And the 1 or 2 lines that I heard about Refantasy is enough to get me excited. That's it.
Maybe they're gauging interest on who has actually heard about it too. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know.
Well, there was a question for that. There was a question that was just, have you ever heard of these games? And Refantasy was on the list. So I don't know what they're. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what they're
We can't
doing.
predict Atlus. They made fucking Soul Hackers 2 and SMT1 on the fucking iOS devices.
That's it.
Like,
So let's talk about Soul Hackers 2 for a sec. Who could have predict? I feel like, disclaimer. I'm crazy excited for Soul Hackers 2, and everything that I saw about it looks insane. I'm really, really, really hyped for it. I really am, 1000%. Most anticipated game of the year by far, okay? But I still feel like, first, it should have been just Soul Hackers. That's it. Just reboot it completely, or change the name. Because it's a 25-year-old game. It's the sequel to a 25-year-old game. I know you don't have to play Soul Hackers 1 to enjoy 2, but people are going to see it on the shelf at GameStop, and they're going to be like, Soul Hackers 2? Oh, maybe I should play the first game first. And they're going to type Soul Hackers in Google, and it's going to bring up a Sega Saturn game. It's going to stop people from buying the game. I'm 100%.
to counteract your argument, sir. Persona 5.
You're not wrong.
There's
You're not
technically
wrong.
5 other games before it.
You're not
So,
wrong.
I mean,
it just feels weird.
But I agree. They should have just called it Soul Hackers, because what was separating it before was the Devil Summoner Soul Hackers.
But now you drop Devil Summoner, so Soul Hackers.
Wait, was it called Devil Summoner Soul Hackers in Japan, or was it just Soul Hackers?
No, it was even for us in the West. Devil Summoner Soul Hackers. Okay. Shin Megami Tensei. Was it Shin Megami Tensei? I'm not even sure.
I have to look at my copy.
I don't have my box here, but I think it's just Devil Summoner Soul Hackers. Pretty sure about that.
I agree that they should have dropped the number. I mean, they could have just called it Soul Hackers
It's a minor
it might
complaint,
start
but-
some confusion, and they're gonna be like, a Sega Saturn 3DS game? I ain't gonna play that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't blame them.
Exactly.
I mean, I haven't played the first Soul Hackers game.
It's
well,
good.
I want to get to it, but there's just so many other games that I want to play right now.
Soul Hackers 1 is a game that would benefit from... I know it was re-released already, but if you put a little bit more work into it, I feel like the story, characters, setting, all of that, it aged really well, but the gameplay, it aged like really bad. And
They
that's
have
coming
like an
from...
alignment system with the demons and everything.
It's
like,
rough. Yeah, it's a little
Yeah.
rough, so I feel like the loyalty system for your demons and stuff, a lot of people hate it. I played through it, I enjoyed it, beat Raido, all that stuff. I really liked it, but I get the complaints, so I feel like... Anyways, I don't want to make this a Soul Hackers podcast, but yeah.
I like your hairy legs, by the way, on the screen right now.
Thank you.
Front of me right now, David.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Next question is from Twitter, is from Makoto Y84910382. That was a little long. Thank you for asking a question, though. Aside from remakes and ports, if Atlus gave us remakes of games, listen to this, such as SMT or Persona 3 and 2, do you think there's potential for Atlus to give us future DLC content from games that were mobile only, such as P2 Tsumi Lost Memories or P3 Aegis First Mission,
First
etc.?
mission, no. That would require too many resources.
Makoto, that's
think
an interesting question, but I just feel like there's so many other things that they could do that would be 100%, 1,000 times easier, and they would make more sense in a business sense, and they don't even do it. So I doubt that they would go that far. Personally, I feel like this is a fan's dream more than anything.
I think we would be even lucky to get a remake of any game at some point, so don't push your luck. I mean, so you're saying, like, if they remake Persona 3, put, I guess, First Mission, how would that flow with it? I mean, it's
a lot to ask of Atlus.
Yeah.
I feel like this would make sense.
They're already stretched thin right now.
They're not even, like, porting their best-selling game of all time to other systems with P5, so I think it's too much to ask. I really do. Next question.
Good question, though. That's a question I haven't heard before.
That's a really interesting question, for sure. Thank you for asking, Makoto. The next question is from friend of the channel, JCat. JCat is in the chat, I think. So shoutouts, JCat. Thank you for the question.
I love Jody.
Yes, sir. A lot of people were very down on the Atlus survey, with many feeling that Atlus doesn't listen to them and they're not worthwhile. Can't blame them. However, I do feel that the fact that the survey was in English for the first time, even though it was for the US only, is a good sign and showed that Atlus does want to hear from their fans and took their opinions into consideration, right? Thoughts? I can go first.
Said before. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
I 100% would agree with that. I think it's a very good first step, and that's something that you need to keep in mind. Even a ton of complaints. I read a ton of complaints online with Soul Hackers 2 in the reveal with the lack of Switch version. And again, Switch, you know it. Most of y'all probably know, but Switch is pretty much my favorite system of all time at this point. I just like the concept so much, and so many of my favorite games of all time are on the system, so I love it that much. I do own a PS5, so when I saw that Soul Hackers 2 wasn't coming to Switch, I was a little bummed, but at the same time, it's such a good first step for them. It's a worldwide release, and it's coming to everything else. PC, Xbox, PlayStation. You gotta realize that, yes, it sucks. It's not a Nintendo, but this is huge for Atlus to put this game on all those other systems. A global launch. If you mentioned 2 years ago to me a worldwide launch, I wouldn't believe you. This is something that Sega like never did, or Atlus never did. Crazy. Crazy.
I still think we're going to get a Switch port of it.
I also... Did you see the question in the survey?
I did not.
Where would you like to play Soul Hackers 2?
Oh, yeah.
On a handheld device.
Sorry, I've had some drinks.
They're already gauging interest for Soul Hackers 2 on Switch.
I think it's a no-brainer that it'll come 6 to 8 months after release. I mean, the Switch is the biggest console in Japan. Japan's Atlus's #1 market. They know it. We all know it. As much as we don't like to admit it sometimes, they are. So it makes complete sense, and I think they'll do it. But at the same, I will say, what was the original question again?
From Jody?
Yeah. What was that original question?
She's asking about what do we think about, should we put weight behind the fact that it's the first North American survey? Is it a good first step for us? Is it a good sign that they want to hear our opinion in the West, that they're at least considering us?
I'm coming from both sides. I think, yes, they do see the value of their Western audience, but at the same time, I think they're just, part of me feels like they're just trying to appease us because the Western audience goes on the Japan surveys all the time and spans P5 Switch port. They go all King Goomba on them and do that shit. So, I think it's kind of a combination of both. Do I think Atlus listens to the survey? Well, look at Nocturne HD. I mean, I think they do to an extent listen to it. Now, whether or not they're going to put P5 on Switch, it's never going to happen.
I think it will.
You shut up.
Well, we'll talk about our actual expectations because we're just dreaming for this whole thing. But at some point during this show, I want us to talk about what we're really expecting. We can talk about P25th in June just a little bit as well. Maybe we'll have something else later on for that. But I want to mention that tonight for sure. I want to gauge you and where you're at because we didn't talk about June for quite a while now. So we have a related question to Soul Hackers before we move on, though. Because my God, I can't talk. Because of another super chat from Peter Parker. Shoutouts for the support, Peter. Much appreciated. Speaking of Soul Hackers, can we talk about how Ringo was excited that I'm buying the game? Hope Atlus does This is insane. I can't talk anymore. Hope Atlus do more of these kind of marketing. That was great. In the survey at the end, they were gauging. Ringo was reacting to some of y'all's question. There was, oh, you played Persona 5 as well. That's so cool. I'm a fan as well. I figured that was cute. I think that was cute. So that's what he was referring to.
Love that.
Yeah,
I absolutely love that.
It's cute. It's minor things, but it's cute. It's all for us in the West. No, for the States. No, to get back to Jody's question, yeah, it's a very good first step. It really is.
I see both sides, honestly, but like you said, great first step. By the way, Ringo is going to be a great main character, if you ask me.
For real.
I love her already.
Yeah, me too. I have a really good feeling. Everything about Soul Hackers 2 looks good, in my opinion, at this point.
But it's too much like Persona 5.
Let's talk about.
I can get some complaints behind that if people don't like how easy Persona 5 is. But if you don't like it, crank up the difficulty.
Yeah, I guess. So many complaints about the difficulty in the games. P5, it's one of the main topics I always hear about. P5, like they're complaining about
some stupid ass discourse on Twitter today about it. Like, can we move on to a different game? I mean,
for real.
Persona 5 Royal, I'm replaying it, like I said, right now. I'm about 40 hours in. I just beat Futaba's Palace. She's in a coma for a fucking month now because I beat it in one day. It's a fucking goated game. I mean, some people go, oh, you like easy games. Oh, you're not a real Megaton fan if you like Persona. Shut the fuck up. I like to touch grass every now and then. Like, goddamn. Like, do you fucking blame me? Persona 5 is a goated game. Great gameplay. Good characters for the most part. I'm looking at you, Futaba.
Looking at you, Haru.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'll come all the way to fucking Canada. Pour maple syrup over your ass.
I'm in the States. You misheard. Didn't you watch my video on the survey? I moved, apparently.
Persona 5 Royal is such a fucking goated game.
It's really good, yeah.
As much as some nitpicky things like, oh, every member of the fucking Phantom Thieves has to put like their 2 cents on the argument. I get that, but the positives about the music, the gameplay, the social system, I mean, just everything else just totally outweighs the negative.
Yeah. Let me just ask you, I put ports and remakes, wishlist, but I didn't ask you about ports. I feel like a lot of people are like, I think people think that you just want P4G on consoles, but other than P4G on consoles, what would be your Atlus port that you would like to see? Just a straight port. If you had to pick one, anything, what would it be?
Straight ports? Just
straight port.
DDS. Fuck it.
Good.
I mean, DDS wanted to put them together in a package, instant money. But I think that they would remaster it like Nocturne. If
yeah, but that works. Honestly, Nocturne's pretty much straight port. Minor additions, minor graphical upgrades, but...
So, if we're leaving out DDS, I would like to see P3 FES with the ability to use your teammates and take control of them.
Yeah, that I feel
what
like.
What about you? What about you, David? We're not asking you these questions. We need to know what the host thinks.
That P3 is good. DDS is definitely good as well. Obviously, I'd like the Raido games I mentioned before. How I don't really think they will happen. Just a feeling. But I would like those as well because I never played them. But my top of the list ports would probably be Devil Survivor 1 and 2. I feel like I know they were brought back on 3DS. I played 1, not 2. I still need to play Record Breaker.
I heard you're not missing much by not playing 2.
I mean, that's an interesting thing. That's what people used to say. But I saw a poll on Twitter. Sorry, I don't remember who polled it. It's a huge person on Twitter for Megaton Twitter, and they polled Desu 1 or 2, and it was like almost 50-50.
Was it gnarly?
I don't remember.
Gnarly? Could be.
I think it was like Thanos or something. It's just a Twitter personality. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe it was Drifter.
I haven't played the Devil Survivor games, and I'm sure if I did, I'd want that.
They're good. They're really good. But I feel like those two games, they would fit so well on modern platforms. And it's a game that people could just, without even knowing SMT, you see those games and they're appealing. I feel like Digital Devil Saga, and again, I'm a big fan, but I feel like you see those games and they don't sell themselves, if that makes sense. Devil Survivor
sell well
does.
if they came out tomorrow with a remaster of DDS 1 and 2 for $50, or even just a port. I don't know. If DDS were to come out tomorrow, how do you think it would sell?
Just a little under what Nocturne did.
But Nocturne was a smash hit.
It was.
The HD remaster.
It was.
In Japan, at least.
Well, even in the West, it did decently. So
I haven't looked at those numbers yet.
I want to see it. I want to see it happen. I've been predicting it for a while now, so I'm hopeful. But other than Devil Survivor, if I had to talk Persona, I want to see the Persona 2 games being brought back. Those would be my picks, like
I love them.
Innocent Sin, Eternal Punishment. That'd be great. They could tweak some little things here and there. Optional quality of life features that you can toggle on and off would be great. You know what Square Enix is doing with their Final Fantasy games or older games. Those are the type of quality of life stuff that I would like to see in Persona 2, like make the battles go faster. Things of that nature, minor things that would be great.
Can I ask you a question as someone who has not played Persona 2? Oh, King hasn't played Persona 2 for Persona 1? Devil Survivor? I mean, bruh, there's only 24 hours in the day.
There's a ton of games. There's a ton of Atlus games that I never played.
Sometimes I don't want to play a turn-based JRPG when I get off home. Sometimes I just, want to fucking chill and just watch Breaking Bad or some shit.
See, for me, it's the same thing. I like to sit down with my weed and play Yakuza. That's my little guilty pleasure. So we all have our little things. Sometimes we just want to, we talk and think about Atlus games like full time. So sometimes we like to, as much as we like them, you have, see in my webcam right now, you guys can't see it, but I have a freaking wall with just Atlus stuff. Sometimes I just want to do something else, plus real life stuff.
Mac in the chat, shut the fuck up. Literally everyone said that, you little bitch. As someone who has never played Persona 2, how hard would it be to translate Persona 2 Eternal Punishment PSP? And was there a lot of voice acting in the Persona 2 Innocent Sin PSP release? Because I'm really not sure. How feasible would that be?
Can you repeat your question? Sorry. I was reading
Persona 2 Eternal Punishment was released on the PS1. The PSP remaster, remake, whatever you want to call it, was never released here in the West. how feasible would it be to have them translate that and then put whatever voice acting like they had from Innocent Sin on the PSP here?
It would be minor because the game's
But then
already
again, they would have to get all those voice actors back, probably.
Yeah. It's hard to say. I want to say it's not going to be that hard, but at the same time, there's other things that would sell way more, that would be way easier, that they're not touching. Like, there's no reason in my mind why P5 isn't playable on PC. Like Switch, you have to put a lot of money into it, and I feel like it would be worth it. But PC, come on. It's like so easy, and you can assume that it would do even better than P4G on PC. Because it's the best rated game, one of the best rated PS4 games of all time. Again, we could talk about that for so long. Let me just go ahead and mention the last couple of super chats that we got. Thank you all so much for the support. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to drop a thumbs up. It's a big help. Takes a second. Shout outs to everyone for tuning in with us tonight. It's been great, and we're still going. Thank you for joining me, King, and make sure to check out King Narukami in the description. His content is right there. Great stuff.
Check out Kamurocho Bros if you like RGG.
For sure, for sure. First super chat is from Cody Black. Shoutouts Cody Black. What features that have one-time used do you like to see from P3, P4, and P5 to come back for P6? Like, for example, in P3, you can change weapons.
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
What type of features from P3, 4, and 5 would you like to see come back in P6? You know what? I'll just twist the question around, and I'll say, what's one thing that I wouldn't like to see come back, because I feel like this is easier. If something comes up for you, you interrupt me, man. I would say I don't want the showtimes from P5R to come back. I feel like those were overpowered. As much as they were fun to look at, I got tired of them pretty quickly, and they were kind of overpowered, so I hope they do something different for the combat. One thing that I would like to see being brought back, honestly, I like
on the show times, by the way. I can attest on the show times. During my replay right now, P5R, it's like you'll have the opponent on the ropes, and all it's going to take is one melee attack to kill them. And they're like, oh, Yusuke and Ryuji want to do their showtime. And, no, fuck that. I'm just going to fucking just melee them.
Exactly. One other thing that I want them to keep is, I like how satisfying Neo Persona is for completionists. Like, all your stats that you can increase, the social links ranks and stuff like that, the mini games, all that stuff. I feel like it's fun to like try and complete as many things as possible. I adore that, so I don't know. That's one of the things that do you have anything in mind?
I adore you, first off.
What do you want to see from these games in P6?
I mean, I feel like they built on so much from, P3, P4 into P5. I would like to see the negotiations from P5 and, SMT come back in P6. Other than that, I mean, I can't really think of anything. It's going to be a lame answer, but I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I don't have anything specific either.
I think I'm with you with the Showtime shit. That was cool for a while, but it happens too often.
Yeah.
I mean, I play through it right now, and it's like almost like every 2 or 3 battles, I'll have someone on the ropes, and that fucking An wants to do her Showtime with Morgana or some shit. I'm like, oh, bro, nah, this ain't it. It's cool a few times.
Exactly, and I know what some of y'all are gonna say. You're gonna say, but you don't have to use them, and I'm like, I know, but they're right there, they're in your face, and it's like, And I feel like if there's a feature in a game that is in your face that you tend to not use at a certain point during your playthrough, is that really a good feature?
I know.
I'm just putting this out there.
It's like they want you to use it.
Yeah.
Instead of meleeing the opponent or using a skill to finish off the fight, they want you to use that. I mean, like I said, this might sound like two guys over 20 complaining about a fucking JRPG, but I mean,
it's kind of what we're doing.
I mean, but it's nice. I like the showtimes. They're fun to an extent. I especially like Joker and Akechi's, even though Akechi is mid as fuck. But I like their showtime as well. That was really cool.
I do have an answer. Something in mind. It's not really a direct answer to Cody's question. It's a good question, Cody. We're boring. We don't have good answers for that one. But something that I want them to change and not keep, but something that I want them to change is, as much as I like the Neo Persona combat systems, I want them to change them a little bit more. Try and do something a little different.
You want them like the press turn? Like, do you want like the press turn?
Just in general, change it. Change something. Like, I know you can keep the turn-based RPG. Keep it turn-based. That's really important to me. Like, don't go action RPG like what everything else is doing. Everyone else is doing. Don't do that. Keep it turn-based, but do something different. I feel like they proved with Tokyo Mirage Sessions that they can do a fantastic battle system, even if it's completely different. I don't know. It's my take on it.
Atlus has proven that even a turn-based battle system can go really fast. Look at P5. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Good God, that thing went fast. SMT5 was reasonably fast as well, fast-paced and everything.
Tokyo Mirage Session has one of the best combat systems of all time. I swear to God.
And it's the best Fire Emblem game ever created.
All right, let's move on. Shoutouts, Cody. Thank you for the question. Much appreciated. Next question is from Toby, the Nomad, asking everyone is saying that we want P5R on multi-platform. Atlus, y'all hear something? I'm not sure if these fans want P5 on other systems. Let's make a survey. And that's interesting, and it's a good point, Toby, because you are completely right. And whenever I hear something like this, the answer is Atlus is the company that we're surprised that one of their best rated games of all time, the game that sold over 1 million copies on a freaking PlayStation Vita, was successful on PC. That's this company. That's this company that we're talking about. So whenever they're doing something not logical and you guys are questioning it, that's what I'm bringing up, because that was insane to me. It was.
You don't need a fucking survey to say, oh, P4G needs to be on consoles. Listen, I'm fucking done port bagging that shit now. At this point, I've given up on it. If it happens, great. If it doesn't, I have a Steam Deck. What the fuck? Well, I will have a Steam Deck at some point. We'll get into that later. But you don't need a fucking survey to say, let's put one of our most successful games on modern consoles. But it's already available on PC. That's like the most Listen here. I don't want to fucking sit in front of my goddamn computer all day and play a PC game. I want to sit like a lazy ass in my recliner and play a game on my TV. And I think a lot of people have that same mindset as well. If you make a really popular game available to many people, that's going to get sales through the roof. What do you think? How do you think P4G would sell if it was on Switch, David?
It's hard to say, but it would be a massive success. It would be. It's
almost like they should have, got it with P4AU, and so it wouldn't sell 12,000 copies.
That's a very good door that you're opening for me. I wanted to ask you about something that we've been talking about for quite a while now. I think you might have heard of this little thing that I'm referring to. Persona 25th anniversary. Yeah, let's shake our heads a little bit and then we can start. June, we're gonna get something for Persona 25th. It's the next announcement. What is now the time? P4G.
So I will be making a video in a couple of weeks about it. I'll probably post it last week of June. But let me give you a sneak peek. This dumbass here is saying P4G is going to be on consoles, and you're going to be saying, "Oh, what the fuck? You said that like for the fucking past like three past announcements." Listen, I said the last announcement was going to be concert. It was right. I'm just saying. But it makes a lot of sense right now because Atlus is in between releases. 13 Sentinels released in April. You don't have Soul Hackers until August. They need to make some money before now and then, because I'm gonna be honest, 13 Sentinels word of mouth, but it's not going to sell, 200,000 copies a week or anything. Shadow drop P4G digitally only. Makes a lot of sense to me. That way, it's not going to interfere with people who want to buy Soul Hacker Suit. You price it probably $30 on consoles. I know it was $20 on Steam. But
Yeah,
you price
there's
it
that
$30
console markup that they always do.
Right. But I still think that's a reasonable price. So, I mean, I think that's easy money. And that's my prediction for June. People are going to be like, oh, you're such a fucking dumbass. This guy always wants P4G on consoles. I don't give a fuck about it anymore. I'm over that shit. February already fucking like you fucking beat me, guys. Like, you fucking beat me to the ground on Twitter about it. Congratulations. You beat down a content creator about his love for a game that wanted to be accessed by a lot of people. I applaud you for that. Good job. It's still going to happen, I feel like, in June.
And I'll just add, I fully agree with everything that you mentioned. I'm just going to add on top of that, because you know I'm the real dumbass with actual expectations here. You know what happened in June of 2012? P4G released on Vita. So it's going to be the 10th anniversary of Persona 4 Golden on Vita. So that's free marketing. Hey, Persona 25th anniversary, here we go. Every eyes are on us. And then, oh, it's also the 10th anniversary of one of our best games of all time. Here it is for everyone else who doesn't want to play it.
And the second anniversary of its release on Steam.
Yes.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
And again, I understand why we're like some of y'all are bummed or are tired of hearing us talking about P4G, but you got to understand that P4G is the easiest way for Atlus to pull in a quick profit. Like, low effort, high revenue. And the PC release.
We're gonna play a game where I'm someone that doesn't subscribe to you, and I'm on Twitter like I, have a fucking I think that I'm fucking know everything. So I'm gonna be the audience, right? But David, how do you know it's so easy when you've never ported a game or never developed a game before?
I honestly have an answer to that. I don't know shit about porting games. I don't know shit about anything like that. But in my mind, it's evident that they can port a PS2, a PS Vita game or the PC version or whatever. I feel like this is easier than bringing back a Persona 1 and changing everything. It's easier than other things that people are asking for. Honestly, I feel like it's probably easier than bringing P5 to PC. So that's just how I'm reasoning. I'm comparing it to other decisions that they could make, and also comparing it with what it did in the past. Like, the PC version was, you guys gotta understand, it's a massive success. It was a massive success for Atlus. It was. So everyone, there's so many people on consoles that want to play that game again or want to play it for the first time. It's one of the best rated games on Vita. If you watch a top 10 games to get on Vita, it's on 95% of the lists. It's always there.
Right.
So,
but David, you're just port begging right now.
When people are saying that, it's the only thing that I have to say is, you guys, I own that game so many times. I own all the platforms. Me wanting it on something else or saying that it's a good business decision is not me begging for it, because if P4G drops on my Switch tomorrow, I'm probably not going to play it tomorrow. Honestly, I have other things to play. It's not something that I'm that much excited about. If P4G releases in July, to be honest, I'm probably not going to play it before like September, because July is, I have Live Alive, Xenoblade 3, Digimon Survive. I have like 3 games that I'm highly looking forward to. And then August is Soul Hackers 2, so I wouldn't touch it for quite a bit. I had a Steam Deck, didn't play the game on it. I have a PC, played like 20 hours of P4G, never touched it again. I have a Vita, it's covered in dust, so it's like, I could play it if I want to. I could.
I think we're both in this mindset right here. We want Atlus to make good business decisions. And to me, that would be a good business decision. If you at least put it on PS4 and Xbox, which are kind of similar to PCs, like the architecture and everything from what I understand, you don't even have to put it on Switch. Whatever. P5 did well just on PS4. You could just put it on there and it'd sell like crazy.
And that's another good thing that you're bringing up, because if they port P4G on PS4, I have no interest in playing it, because what my PC allows me to do is what I can do on my PS4. Some could argue and could say, hey David, it's the same thing for the Vita versus the Switch, and yeah, you're right. The hybrid nature to me is appealing, but it's portable versus portable, so we spent enough time on that. But it's just decisions like this that sometimes you're like, why aren't they doing this? Why aren't they bringing it back? And even you mentioned Persona 5. P5 is even more obvious. It's your most successful game of all time. Apparently they're scared of saying that it's exclusive to Sony, which leads me to believe that it's not. Why are you not bringing it to other platforms? Do you really believe that your most successful game, which is one of the best rated games of all time of the last decade, wouldn't give you money elsewhere?
At least on Steam. You don't even have to bring it to Switch.
But they should. They should. You should.
Yeah.
You don't want to do it yourself? Atlus, fine. Just pay another company to ask them to port it to other platforms. It would do insane. See, that's what we talked about, ports and stuff enough. I feel like we did mention Remake. We talked about a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. We have another super chat from Toby, the Nomad again. Shoutouts, Toby. Thank you for the support. We're getting nothing but Japan exclusive Rize Kujikawa bathwater. P4G is a fever dream at this point. I mean,
we did get toothpaste.
No. Mouthwash is what we got.
I'm sorry. God strike me down.
It's so much better. Come on. And honestly,
Atlus telling the fans that they need to practice proper hygiene.
As much as I like Atlus, and as much as we're complaining about their business decisions and stuff, you can't say that they're not making good games, right? Anything that Atlus is dropping nowadays is pretty much a bomb. Like, I know Soul Hackers 2 is going to be amazing. I know SMT5 was controversial. I adored it. I'm right about to replay it again.
That's just people on the internet just spouting shit.
But some people have fair complaints, but I mean,
there are complaints, but at the end of the day, I feel like it's like the P5 discourse.
In a way, I feel like that as well. And again, we could talk about that for a long time, but that's just my take on it. And I have a feeling that they're going to do well with their other releases once Project Refantasy drops. I'm sure it's going to be fire. Whenever they show Persona 6, I'm sure it's going to be fire. So it's good, and sometimes I want to compare them. Like, one of my first videos that I made, my first Atlus video that I made on the channel, I compared Atlus and Square Enix. And let me just do it again 2 years later. Square Enix, they're probably one of the best in terms of porting their old games. Hell, they're bringing back Live Alive, a freaking crazy niche RPG that was never localized. 30 years later, they're localizing it in an HD 2D style. They're putting a lot of money into it, and they don't even know if it's going to do well. Atlus, on the other hand, the games that we all know, us, dumbasses, we know it would do well, they're not porting it. So, yes, you can question their decisions, but Atlus isn't dropping those Final Fantasy Origins. They're not doing that. There's positives and negatives with every company, I feel like.
Final Fantasy 1 through 6 HD 2D pixel remaster. Final Fantasy 7 is even available on every fucking console known to man right now. Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, 10, 10-2, 12, 13, 1, 2, and 3 is available on PC. I mean, they're amazing when it comes. They know what people want.
Depends. There's still Kingdom Hearts Cloud versions on Switch.
No, I will say, people are going to say Square Enix is a much bigger company, and I agree, but Atlus could always hire third parties like they did with Catherine or something to port these games. Yes, it would cost some money, but in the end, I think they would make more money than it would cost them to port these games.
Yeah, and it's their decisions too. It's like, why would you port again, I adore the game, but who decided that porting Catherine Full Body in 2020 on Switch would do better than a game in the same engine like P5R, for example? And I know it's not the same effort, but let me compare it to something else. P4G. They're porting the games. I feel like it's not normal that in 2022 my Switch collections in terms of Atlus games consist of like Persona 4 Arena, Ultimax, Catherine Full Body, Tokyo Mirage Sessions. 3 games that when they were revealed, I was like, awesome! I'm going to play these games again, but they're going to flop. 13 Sentinels is another one. Like, as much as I love those games wouldn't even do 1/10 of what a P4G would do. So it just makes me question their decisions. And again, I'm just not complaining. I'm just talking in a business sense, because personally, I prefer like Catherine over Persona 4. So I'm happy about that decision. But when you look at it in a business sense, you're like, who thought this would be a good idea?
Who's responsible for this?
Like, when we saw Catherine sell like 11,000 copies during its first week, I was like, well, duh.
I mean, still about as much as P4AU sold.
Exactly. So it's...
I mean, 13 Sentinels will Switch outsold P4AU on fucking PS4, PC, and Switch in Japan in its first week. Mm-hmm. I mean, that shows you what marketing and shit does. I mean, and word of mouth. I mean,
yeah.
I hate to say it, anyone here who likes P4AU, it is a great game. I'm just not a fighting game fan. Mm-hmm. To me, 13 Sentinels is the better game all around. The story, the characters, the music. I mean,
1,000%.
You can say, why are you comparing a fighting game to this? I mean, Atlus did a much better job. I mean, they knew that 13 Sentinels had word of mouth. The reason it sold so much already is because of word of mouth. Mm-hmm. It's going to continue to sell well on Switch. By the way, it's $40 right now in the US, right now on Amazon, Best Buy, Target.
That. VGP in Canada, they're shipping worldwide $40 for
amazing
13
price.
Sentinels.
Amazing price. Great game, much better. They made a better effort in that because they actually changed some stuff in 13 Sentinels than they ever did with P4A.
Mm-hmm. We covered all the subjects that I wanted to talk about tonight. Before we wrap things up, I'm giving one final chance. Everyone, not through Super Chats, you can just ask us a related question in the chat. We're going to do a 5 minutes blast of quick answers to a couple of you guys' questions. So final shot, drop some questions. You don't have to Super Chat. We'll try to answer as many as possible. Shouts to JCat coming in with the last minute Super Chat. Much appreciated. Thank you for the support, Jody. It's time we all admit it. Atlus is mismanaged.
I don't think there's no admitting it. It's true.
I would have to agree. And again, we could complain for so long. They're doing a lot of good. I would just want to say that they're doing a lot of good. But there's also so many questionable decisions. Shouts, JCat. Thank you for the support. You ready to blast through a couple of questions, dude?
I'm ready to blast in you.
Oh my god. Let's try to answer quickly to as many as possible, okay? You good?
Sure.
Persona 3 port coming soon? Depends on what you mean.
Maybe.
Soon. I would say in the next 3 years, you'll see P3.
Maybe.
Do you think the June announcement will be at the end of June or Summer Games Fest? Summer Games Fest makes sense, in my opinion. P4AU was at TGA?
Knowing Atlus, though, they're going to make us wait till June 30th. Mm-hmm.
Do you prefer Innocent Sin or EP? I know you didn't play them. I prefer Eternal Punishment. Any ideas for SMT Anniversary? Maybe another concert. It would be cool to have P-Sound style concert. DDS, agree. HD remaster. Do you think we could get some old Atlus games through the new PS Plus? We briefly talked about that. I feel like it's possible. I wouldn't say likely.
I wouldn't bank on it.
How excited are y'all for the GR Corolla? And that's from Mac. You know how excited I am for that. You know. I won't get one, but you know. What was the last piece of Persona SMT merch / games that have you picked up? Interesting question. Yeah, let me turn around as well. Oh my god.
Go ahead, dude.
This week, I bought a complete in-box copy of Devil Survivor 2, the original on DS. I didn't have that. So I have that now.
Hey.
Got it for a good price too. $30 Canadian. Okay. Complete.
Okay.
What's yours?
Natsuno Minami statue from 13 Sentinels.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. If I wasn't broke, I would have that statue. I had it pre-ordered, but I had to cancel it. What music genre do you think Persona 6 will have?
Lotus Juice.
That
is the music genre.
Should I play P2 EP or P2 IS first? Innocent Sin first. Unrelated to Atlus, but have you and King ever played Mass Effect? I have not.
My girlfriend is a huge Mass Effect fan. I've played some of the first. I own the Legendary collection that they put on PS4. Just haven't been able to play it yet.
Yeah, I've heard a ton of good things about it. It looks so unappealing to me. I'm sorry.
David,
say why.
alien sex. Alien sex.
It doesn't sound too appealing, to be honest. Sounds like a minor inconvenience to me.
Plays Alley Cat.
Hey. What engine is Fantasy being developed in?
We don't know.
I don't remember. Did they confirm that? I don't think they did. I'm not sure. Sorry.
H2DK says P6 will be all DD Mouse.
Oh my god. Please no. When do you think Persona 6 will come out? Late 2024.
P6?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Any other ideas what will be the Persona concert as a new mainline game or another spinoff? P6 will get announced.
P6 and Scramble sequel. Listen, David, I don't know what your fucking thing is with Scramble, but it's a fucking great game. I loved it.
It's alright. It's unmemorable. I liked it when I played it.
God.
No, I'll give you that. I adored it when I played it. In my review, if you go back to it, extremely positive. But I forgot most of it. I don't know.
That's because Haru had some actual character development.
Do you like to
You're like, ew, we don't want that.
Nah, they did her great. She went from like a 2 out of 10 to a 3, so it's pretty good. Would you like to see SMT 1 and 2 in a full HD remake? Depends on what they do. This man
thinks he can just change the fucking subject.
It's my go-to with you. Whenever you're on, if I say something that you won't like, I'll move on immediately. That's my thing.
Fuck you, dude.
Persona 1 and 2 remake. Has potential.
I'm sorry.
I'm not sure about 2, but 1 potential.
I think 1 would be remade over 2.
You guys have some good questions. If Soul Hackers 2 does well, will there be a potential sequel that strays away from the turn-based combat? Example, P5 Distractors. I feel like, I don't know about strays from turn-based, but I feel like they want to make Soul Hackers its own IP, so I fully expect something else after if it does well. Not sure about spin-off, but sequel? Yeah, I would think so. If they announce P4G in June, do you think it would be shadow dropped or 2 weeks away from a physical release?
No physical release, all digital.
How likely do you feel that if we got a Persona 3 remaster, that they would add party control and money and experience controls like in P4G?
They have to.
And party control is a must for sure. Should Atlus drop a 3DS collection for Switch/PS4? Should they? Well, for us as consumers, it's easy to say yes, but a ton of efforts would have to be put in this, so not so sure. Do you think Atlus is conflicted internally on the direction of mainline SMT from a narrative position? Interesting question.
Okay, I think they're basing this off of SMT5 not having the best story, and I agree. There's so many rewrites that happen apparently. I don't think Atlus has like... It's really hard to say. I mean, the writers of the game, I feel like, just didn't have the time to finish everything. And I feel like Atlus had to get out SMT5 in 2021 so they could prove David right instead of me. But, by the same... I mean, it's hard to say. What do you think, David? I think with SMT4, they did spectacular with the writing.
I think they...
Apocalypse I haven't played, but at the same time, I've heard people say it's not great. I thought SMT5's was
If you go back and listen to the Yame's interviews about SMT5 prior to launch, I feel like they knew what they were doing with 5 from a narrative standpoint, and I feel like they did what they wanted to do. When you read those interviews, it really feels that way to me. So if I had to bet money, I would say no. I feel like they knew exactly what they were doing. That's my feeling, honestly. Do you think we'll get Fantasy next year? I hope so. Don't know anymore.
Very doubtful at this point.
Agree. When do y'all think they'll finally drop the Soul Hackers 2 pre-order for the West?
That's a good question. They haven't even announced a physical edition for the West.
I don't know what they're doing.
Atlus West things.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
It's the same company that decided not to have a physical release of P4 AU, but had a physical release for 13 Sentinels on Switch.
Yeah. What do you think about a Persona 3 or 4 action RPG?
Persona 3 or 4 what? You cut off there.
Action RPG.
Nah.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, get it into a scramble sequel and include the class of P3 and P4.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way.
Yeah, I think we're ready to wrap things up. It was great. Thank you for joining me, dude. Much appreciated. It was fun again.
I just want to say before the stream ends, fuck FedEx. They're holding my Steam Deck hostage right now. It's literally less than an hour away. You motherfuckers are the reason I drink and can't sleep at night. I don't have my fucking Steam Deck because of you. So go fuck yourselves. Deliver my fucking Steam Deck when you can. I'm like, I will literally drive 45 minutes to pick it up. And they're like, no, we can't do that because Valve doesn't allow. Fuck you. Fuck you. You just don't want me to have what I want. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fair complaint. But thank you anyways for joining me, man. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. Thank you all for tuning in with us tonight. It was great. 1 hour and a half of mostly complaining about Atlus, but still, we liked him. We really do. We
love Atlus. Let's not. Yeah. I mean, this whole podcast was fucking about Atlus. I mean,
we do because we wouldn't have 2 YouTube channels fully dedicated to their stuff. So much love. It was great. Thank you all for tuning in with us. Before you leave, make sure to check out King Narukami 45, link to his social media, and most importantly, YouTube channel down in the description below. Please show him some love. I would really appreciate it. But otherwise, have a great rest of your day and a great upcoming week. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.